this is Sony's DualSense Edge Controller, one of the best controllers ever made for PlayStation. But there are some cons that come along with the pros, so stay tuned because in this video I'm going to be talking about the pros and the cons when it comes to this controller and whether or not you should spend $200 on it. Anyways, let's get right into it. Okay, so like I said in this video, I am going to be talking about the pros and the cons, and you've probably seen a lot of reviews about this controller already and know a lot of great things about it, which is why I'm going to start off with the cons first. Now, the very first thing I do not like about this controller is the battery life. I thought it was going to be a lot better. It dies really quickly. Honestly, I get about like 3 to 4 hours of gameplay, and it's not too much. Majority of the time, whenever I'm playing, I find myself charging the controller more than I have it unplugged. But the solution to this is the fact that they do give you like a 5 or 6 foot long cord, so you can actually plug it in your PS5 or a wall outlet and charge it from anywhere. But the fact that I have to charge it majority of the time does kind of suck. Besides the battery life, there is one more con I want to talk about with this controller, and that's the actual price. So it is $200, which makes sense because it's very premium. It feels really good, don't get me wrong. The subtle details that Sony added to this really makes it outstanding. But the fact that it's $200 blows my mind because with the Xbox Elite 2 controller, that one is $179, so like I guess $20 less. But you also get another D-pad and you could still replace everything else. Thinking about this, I feel like they could have made it a little bit less. $200 is a lot for a controller, especially for a controller that doesn't really hold its charge. But like I said, I guess I kind of see where they're coming from. But if they did offer like a cheaper option like Xbox does with the Elite 2 core that's going for $130 and essentially has the same features when it comes to the triggers, personally, I think they would sell a lot more. But that's just me. Let me know in the comments down below if you think $200 is too much for this controller or if you think that that's the right price that they should be charging. Those are the two main cons that I have with this controller. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's move on to the pros. The very first thing I want to talk about that I automatically noticed was going to be the weight and just the feel of the overall controller. When playing with this, I absolutely feel like it's amazing. And honestly, there are very subtle differences that make a big change. The one thing has to be the weight. Now, the regular PS5 controller feels really light, which is good, but this one is really heavy, but it's not heavy in a bad way. All the weight on this controller is distributed evenly to where it just feels really good in the hands. Now, another subtle difference is that with this controller, you could see that on the actual touchpad or select button on here, it has the little X and O's. It also has the same thing when it comes to the grip of the trigger. Now, another thing when it comes to the overall feel is during gameplay, whenever you're shooting, especially in shooting games, it just feels a lot better with the triggers. Now, I'm going to have you listen to the original PS5 controller and then the DualSense Edge controller, and you can actually hear a difference while clicking the triggers. So here you go. So the overall feel of this controller definitely feels a lot more premium compared to the regular PS5 controller, especially when playing games. Now, in the hand, it is super comfortable. Something that I do like that it offers better than the Elite controller is going to be these buttons back here. Now, these make a big difference. I feel like they're just really comfortable on the hand. It's a lot more comfortable just tapping here rather than reaching all the way down here in order for you to use that button. So that's something that Sony really thought about. And when it comes to the comfort of this controller, it's absolutely amazing. Now, as you know, it does come with little JoyCons that you can actually remove, which is really good. And something else that you can do is you can actually pop this part off right here. And whenever you pop out that black part, you can take the actual stick out. And let's say you have stick drift in one of these analog sticks, you can just go ahead and grab a new one of these for $20 instead of having to get a whole new controller, which is really crazy. I wonder if in the future they are going to make different colored ones of these. So maybe like, I don't know, like a red one or something that you could just replace, like maybe like a God of War edition to where the colors are a little different. or maybe it's just for that reason. I don't know, who knows? Let me know down in the comments what you think down below. Now, another thing that comes with the joysticks is whenever you take them off, you have two options. You have a small option and a long option, and honestly, it's not too much bigger, but it does make a big difference. I definitely prefer the smaller option because this one is just way too big for my hands. I mean, it's cool, but it's just really uncomfortable, so I would much rather go with the smaller one, but hey, that's all personal preference. And the accessories that come with this controller as well. The case, whenever I saw the reviews, I thought it was going to be like really soft, but it is actually pretty hard. It is crazy. Now, inside the actual carrying case, it does come with a lot of features. Like I said, the different tops for the analog stick, you have that 6-foot cable right there, and then you have everything just placed super nicely. And you can also charge it from the back right here if you want to. Now, everything that this controller does and the features are absolutely amazing. The look is beautiful. It looks super chic, very futuristic. I love the glossiness right here. And the buttons down here, you can actually use to pick what gaming profile you want to use. So for example, if I'm playing like The Last of Us, this top button, L1, is to sprint. Instead of doing that, I can just push this button. But let's say I switch from The Last of Us and then go over to Fortnite. Obviously, it's not the same button, so I have the button layout saved to where one's Fortnite, one's Last of Us, and the other one's Call of Duty. So if you want to have those options for whenever you're playing, you can, and you can also change them at any time. Also, another really great thing this controller offers is the sensitivity whenever you're playing a game. So let's say you're playing a shooter where you want to be really quick. You could change it to where just like you pushing it this much is going to go drastically fast. Or if you're playing a really stealthy game, you could do it to where it doesn't really move as much whenever you move the joystick. So that is also something very cool that's implemented with this controller. Now, with hearing the pros and with hearing the cons, do you think that this controller is worth $200? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm gonna give you my opinion. Honestly, if you want the carrying case, everything, all the triggers and all the different joysticks, definitely get it for $200. But if you're somebody who doesn't use the carrying case too much and you are happy with the original joysticks, you just want it for the adaptive triggers and just the new look and feel of it, then I don't know if I would justify spending $200 on it. Because honestly, like I said, I wish they would do an option to where they only sell the controller itself for like $130, even $150, kind of how Xbox does. And I know me talking about the PlayStation 5 DualSense Edge, I shouldn't be talking about the Xbox controller, but Xbox has done a great job when it comes to their consumers and the price point. They have the Xbox Series S, which is a low price point. They have the Elite 2 controller, which is a low price point. So I would like to see PlayStation implement the same thing. I doubt that they are, but if you really do want this controller, then go ahead, spend the money, you'll love it. And honestly, it is a great controller. But if you're kind of on the fence about whether spending $200 on a controller that you're not even going to use everything, like all the accessories for, then I wouldn't do it. I would just stick with the regular PS5 controller. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or if you have this controller, let me know what you think about it down below. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.